Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Wacky and Weird Wednesday, the day where we cover all the weird and wacky things we could find in the news cycle. And trust me, it's always about animals and it's always about people doing weird things and deciding this is going to be what we're going to do. Good luck, guys. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we start. And we haven't had any caffeine, so let's read out these headlines. Today on Before Coffee. Police warn public not to chase runaway Spilsby emu, and plane grounded for days after 132 hamsters escape.
Japan is building a space elevator, and also up in the sky, get ready for another Pacific bomb cyclone this week.
The UK is gonna consider banning social media for teenagers. Good luck.
And it's animals on the loose, whether it's monkeys or pigs or emus. We're going to cover them all.
During Halloween, we covered how witches became witches. But now we're going to cover how cinema reinvented the witch through Wicked.
And it's National Absurdity Day in a nation that is completely absurd. November 20th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
We're doing the Absurdity Olympics over here. Alright, let's start this wacky day off with some emus. That's right. This is coming from Lincolnshire by Cheris Scott Holm on BBC. An emu has been spotted in Spilsby over the last few weeks. Just to rescue the runaway emu is being scoopered by people chasing it on their 4x4s, police have said. The large bird has been regularly spotted near Spilsby in the last few weeks, but Lincolnshire police say it was not clear when it escaped or where from. This is just a random emu around here. National Exotic Animal Rescue Service, or NEARS, was drafted in to capture it, but its attempts have been hampered by the public, the Boston area police team said on Facebook. Both NEARS and the force warned people not to approach or chase the animal while the rescue mission is underway. NEARS said doing so could cause the current attempts to recapture him or her to fail, and warned the bird could be scared into a nearby road. The Post added, "Please leave this to us and our contacts to ensure the best outcome for this beautiful animal." Lincolnshire police asked anyone with information or sightings of the emu to contact NEARS via Facebook, which would be, I think, probably, just search National Exotics Animal Rescue on Facebook, and you can contact them and say, "I've seen the emu! It was down on 13th Street," or whatever. So there is your big notification, guys. If you see the emu, let people know. You just contact them if you see any emu, you know?
Don't try to capture it.
Totally
It'll take your hand off.
Well, completely. Yeah, don't try to capture it with your 4x4. They can outrun your 4x4, and also might get hit by somebody if they are freaked out. So there's your emu news. Now for hamster news. This is at Portugal, at Ponta Delgada Airport. Reporting from the Telegraph. I don't think they quoted anybody. The passenger plane, the Portuguese Azores, a plane, has been grounded since last Tuesday, which would have been the 12th of November, after 132 hamsters or maybe it was yesterday. No, it was yesterday. It says last Tuesday, which indicates last week. It could just be a bad translation because it's a Dutch article. Point is, let's go with yesterday, 19th. Plane has been grounded after 132 hamsters managed to escape from the aircraft. Baggage handlers have been searching for the fugitives for days. Okay, so maybe it was last week. So for a whole week, they've been looking for hamsters in the airport. All right, that sounds about right. That sounds right. You know, if anybody's ever had a pet hamster that escaped their cage, oh, where did, Hammy go? He's probably in the walls, chewing on our cables. Probably died chewing on an electrical cable. Sorry kid. That's hamsters for you. They love going in the walls. They just want to be in a little wall and safe in a wall.
Mhm.
Passenger plane left Lisbon late Tuesday for Ponta Delgada on the island of São Miguel in the Azores. In addition to passengers' luggage, there was an order for a pet shop in the airspace, more than 100 hamsters, a few ferrets, and birds, according to Portuguese news site Correio de Manha. When the baggage staff on the ground wanted to empty the hold, they noticed that the boxes containing the rodents were damaged and that the hamsters had escaped. That's right, all 132 hamsters. And this was a worry because, as I've already said, those animals love to bite through cables. And it was decided that the plane would not return to Lisbon immediately because there might be damaged cables. So, on the Saturday, which would be the 16th of November, 16 of the more than 100 rodents were still running around freely in Airbus 320. So they found almost all of them except for 16, according to Correio de Manha. According to the newspaper, Portugal resident, the last hampers were found over the weekend. The extent of the damage and when the plane will be able to take off again are still unclear. They're going to have to check every single system on that plane, even to the lowest important ones, to make sure everything works. And there's no cables that are, have two connections that are by a strand,
Right.
Oh, if this plane moves just a little bit, those cables will snap and then you won't be able to use your brakes. I don't know. Definitely want to be using your air brakes on when you touch down, because otherwise you're going to have to take off again and keep slowing down. But there's your two wacky animal stories. Hamsters escaping in your Airbus 320.
Oh boy. I don't think they'll chew through cables. Maybe wiring. They cause electrical short. Kill themselves in the process.
Yeah, unfortunately. They don't know any better. They're just hamsters. On to your story?
Yep. Okay. In Sky News, this is from groovyjapan.com. Japan's space elevator ready to build in 2025. That's right. By golly, Japan has a space elevator ready to go. The Obayashi Corporation, one of Japan's top, this is from Salam Groovy Japan, it's the person's name, Salam of the Groovy Japan staff. Obayashi Corporation, one of Japan's top construction companies, is currently testing carbon nanotubes, a key element towards bringing this space elevator dream to life. Until now, the idea seemed like sci-fi fantasy, but since the discovery of CNT, which is the carbon nanotubes, by Japanese engineer in 1991, progress towards its creation is getting faster. The space elevator will connect Earth to outer space using 96,000 kilometer long, that's right, that's not a typo, 96,000 kilometer long CNT cable. The cable, which will stretch through the Earth atmosphere, will carry materials and people using wheeled lifts called climber.
Ooh.
Okay. How to build a space elevator. Number 1, building materials for a space elevator will be delivered by a rocket in several stages to build the spaceship at low Earth orbit, or LEO. The spaceship will use electric propulsion to move up as it circles around the Earth, reaching the geostationary Earth orbit. That is where it will start to rotate at the same speed as the Earth's rotation. Number 3, once the spaceship reaches the altitude of 36,000 kilometers, it will move up while releasing the CNT cable with thrusters attached to its tip. After 8 months from the rocket launch, the cable will reach the Earth's surface. When the spaceship reaches the altitude of 96,000 kilometers, it will then become a counterweight. Number 4, climber for construction goes up while attaching reinforcing cables and joins the counterweight at the top. By reinforcement, about 500 times a 100-ton climber can be used. Wow, 100 tons is a lot of weight. How many Empire State Buildings is that? Anyway. Number 5, with the completed climber, materials will be carried to an altitude of 36,000 kilometers to complete the GEO station. Number 6, Earthport is a gateway to space on Earth. The Earthport is built in 2 sections, one on land at the equator and one at sea, connected by an undersea tunnel. Wow! Once the space lift is built, it'll be less expensive to go into space and more sustainable, as there is no fuel or toxic chemical waste. At the launch speed of 150 kilometers per hour, the climber will reach an altitude of 400 kilometers, where the International Space Station is located, in about 2.5 hours. That is almost the same as traveling between Tokyo and Osaka, two major cities in Japan, by bullet train. Each launch will probably cost around several million yen, or a few $1,000s. Well, that's not so bad. The space lift is just a way for space travel and transport. The essence of the project concept can also be seen as an effort to solve energy problems. The project includes deploying a space solar power systems, or SSPS, satellite at an altitude of 36,000 kilometers. Unlike solar power on the Earth's surface, SSPS is not affected by the weather. As many people know, solar energy is unlimited and free. According to calculation, 45 minutes of solar radiation is equal to energy used by humans for 1 year. 112 hours of radiation is equal to the energy used by all proven reserves of oil, coal, and natural gas on Earth. That's really amazing. The energy received by the 2 km squared of solar panels floating in space is then sent as microwaves to the receiving antenna on Earth. That's right, it can transmit energy wirelessly over a distance of 36,000 kilometers. The receiving antenna is called a rectifying antenna and has a diameter of 2.5 kilometers over the sea. That's a big antenna. Think of it as big as the size of a golf course for a better idea. Because the rectifying antenna is huge, in theory, a person can't be roasted even when exposed to microwaves. The Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, and the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology, holy crap, they cover a lot. Japan, which is called the MEXT, will collaborate to start the SPS testing. I guess the testing started in 2022. Obayashi Corporation plans to start building in 2025 and use the space lift in 2050. The Japanese government has also set a target to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050, making many initiatives to make this a reality. There's your space news. And also, up in the sky this week, more current, is a bomb cyclone headed for the Pacific coast. Yes, this is weather, the weird weather, Weird Wednesday. This is from CBSNews.com, Nikki Nolan. The Northeast is bracing for a strong storm system to move in this week, delivering gusty winds, heavy rain, and mountain snow. The National Weather Service says the first major storm of the season, an atmospheric river, and a bomb cyclone are what make this storm so powerful. What do these terms mean? What is an atmospheric river? We've covered this before, but here's a refresher. Atmospheric rivers are no strangers to the western U.S., especially during the fall and winter. Atmospheric rivers, or ARs, are elongated, narrow regions of moisture that travel outside of the tropical regions. They are responsible for producing heavy rain and snow, especially when pushed up against mountain ranges like the Cascades in Washington State and Oregon, and the Sierra Nevada in California. As well-known type of atmospheric river is called the Pineapple Express because it flows from the Hawaiian Islands. Strong ARs transport water vapor roughly the equivalent of 7.5 to 15 times the average flow of the Mississippi River. Annually, 30% to 50% of the West Coast precipitation occurs with just a few atmospheric river events. What is a bomb cyclone? Well, a bomb cyclone are low-pressure systems that undergo what meteorologists call bombogenesis. Bombogenesis occurs when a mid-latitude cyclone, meaning the area between the tropics and polar regions, rapidly intensifies over a 24-hour period. In most regions, the atmospheric pressure drops at least 24 millibars within 24 hours and is considered a bomb cyclone. So it's a drop in air pressure, rapid drop in air pressure is what it is. Bomb cyclones can occur when a cold air mass collides with a warm air mass, which is how some significant winter storms also can happen. It also causes tornadoes. When an atmospheric river and bomb cyclone occur at the same time, a major weather event is expected. Atmospheric rivers provide the moisture. The bomb cyclone provides the intensity and increased winds. The major event this week has rainfall totals up to 10 to 20 inches. In some spots, mountain snow totals are expected to be over a foot in most areas. High elevations could receive 2 to 3 feet. There's your weather. There's your space news. Back to you. Yo. Yo, Europe. This is London calling. Hello. Hello. I don't hear you.
I forgot I muted myself because I was eating a mochi. It's Japanese mochi, so I didn't want all the crinkling wrapper sound. No, what I said, it would be really interesting if they actually make that in real life. I know they're planning on it, but to actually see it happen. There's actually a lot of video games with space elevators, so.
Yep.
It'll be very interesting.
Go Japan!
50 years or something. I don't know.
I'll be on the ground cheering you on. Look at those crazy people.
Yeah, I'm not going on the space elevator. Well, I might. I want to get a job on the space elevator. I would like to go on it. Thank you.
I want to be the cleaning lady on the space elevator.
All right. From animals and space elevators to let's ban social media for teenagers in the UK. Don't think that's ever going to happen, but they are considering
ban porn
it.
While we're at it.
The technology secretary is considering passing a law that will ban social media. This is by Martin Landy on The Independent. Let me reload. And it's asking me to register to read, and I'm not going to do that because I got a special way to avoid that. All right. So, a ban on social media for under 16-year-olds is on the table if companies do not take action to protect children, the technology secretary has said. I don't know, I'm sure they'll tell me what his name is. Peter Kyle made the warning while preparing to tell Ofcom to be more assertive with tech firms, as both he and the regulator ready themselves for new legal powers in the Online Safety Act to commence from the start of 2025. The act will see new safety duties placed on social media platforms for the first time, requiring them to protect users, and in particular children, from harmful content. This will include a crackdown on under 13s having access to any age-restricted content. Speaking to the Telegraph newspaper, Mr. Kyle suggested that the UK would have to move to another level of regulation if tech companies do not get together to enforce the act. The technology secretary said he did not want to pursue further law changes until he sees how the Online Safety Act works in practice. But he signaled he had been speaking to politicians from Australia, where social media restrictions for under 16s have been considered. Asked if the UK could push its age limit up to 16, Mr. Kyle told the Telegraph, "When it comes to keeping young people safe, everything is on the table." As the government prepares to enforce the act, Mr. Kyle has published for the first time a statement of strategic priorities for watchdog Ofcom. This says Ofcom should ensure the concept of safety by design is being followed by platforms from start, so more harm is caught before it occurs, and pushes for more transparency from tech firms on what harms are occurring on their platforms. Good luck having Twitter do any of that. They're not going to. They're just gonna say, no, freedom of speech, let people see beheadings if they want to. I don't care if a 12-year-old sees that. It also urges them to create digital worlds which are inclusive and resilient to harm, including from disinformation. Ofcom will also have to ensure it is agile in how it regulates the sector by monitoring and tackling emerging potential harms, such as AI, and embracing online safety technologies to also help improve user safety. The government said Ofcom will have to consider each of the stated priorities as it enforces the act and report back on what action it has taken to ensure safer online spaces are being delivered. Keeping children safe online is a priority for this government. That is why today I will be the first Secretary of State to exercise the power to set out my strategic priorities, Mr. Kyle said. He also announced ministers will launch a research project aimed at helping it understand the impact of smartphones and social media use on children. Well, good luck for you, because there's an entire generation that you can study for that. A bunch of 30 to 40-year-olds, they're called millennials, you might know them. that have all experienced all the bad and good things from smartphones and social media, and now we're all messed up in the head. Yay!
We don't know what's real.
I don't think the boomers out there, and I use this word colloquially, understand how detrimental social media and smartphones were to children, right? 12-year-olds who were like sending nudes to each other at 12, getting in trouble, and sending them to their friends. That was terrible. It didn't happen to me, but it happened to people in my school because I know we had to have a freaking meeting, the school auditorium, and be like, kids, do not send nude photos to other kids. It's considered child porn and you can go to jail. And then everyone was like, oh my god, this is illegal. Not that it's bad to send nudes, that it's illegal. That was the lesson we learned from that.
Yeah, it's illegal. Goddamn right. You get somebody thrown in for jail.
And you're going to go to hell. No, they didn't say that, but they could have.
Get somebody's parents thrown in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't even do anything, right? Somebody's parents going to jail didn't even do anything. So look at their kid's phone, or
what the hell? Why is Susan naked on your phone? Call the police.
What are you doing with kiddie porn on your phone that's registered in your name because your kid can't register a phone?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was messed up. But that's an example of how children have been completely messed up by social media. They have way too high expectations of what they're supposed to be doing, right? Oh, look at all these people who are succeeding in life. Yeah, it's because they're only taking pictures of them succeeding. They're not going to send you a picture of like, look, I'm depressed in a hole. Woohoo! No one takes pictures of that. So social media, all you see is the good stuff, none of the bad stuff. And it really does fuck with your brain. Yeah. But I feel like they've already been doing these studies. They don't need to do
shitbags like Leon Musk who just report false news without even checking on it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this must be real.
And then blocks real news.
Yeah. Anyways, continue with the article so I can finish it up. Ian Russell, chairman of the Molly Rose Foundation, said that new priorities offered some course correction for the Online Safety Act and would allow Ofcom to be bolder, but warned more reform to the rules was still needed. I agree. The Molly Rose Foundation, MRF, was set up by Mr. Russell and his family in memory of his daughter Molly, who ended her life at 14 in November 2017 after viewing harmful content on social media. So she was traumatized, probably by seeing a beheading or, I don't know, the Boston Marathon. That was all over social media. That should not have been, like, people's legs being blown off. Should have not have been on social media. I saw that stuff. She was 14 and she wasn't ready to see any of that, so she was like, I can't live in a world where I've seen that. Goodbye. And that's why child soldiers also shouldn't exist. This announcement outlines a much-needed course correction, vital for improved online safety, and to prevent the new regulation falling badly short of expectations, he said. However, all this lays down an important marker for Ofcom to be bolder. It is also abundantly clear that we need a new Online Safety Act to strengthen current structural deficiencies and focus minds on the importance of harm reduction. So, Maria Neopioto, Director of Strategic Knowledge at the NSPCC, said the new priorities had the potential to change the online world for children. She added, through Childline, we hear daily from young people about the range of harms they are experiencing online, including bullying, access to content encouraging suicide, and eating disorders, and child sexual abuse and exploitation. Tech companies must be transparent about harm happening on their platforms. They should be disrupting safe havens for offenders by tackling hidden abuse taking place through private messaging. Like Telegram, for example, right? They had to shut down all those channels because it's like, these guys are doing harmful things to people and you're letting them be on your platform. It is the right that the government is focusing on driving innovation and new technology that can identify and disrupt abuse and prevent harm from happening in the first place. An Ofcom spokesperson said, our resolve is to create a safer life online for children and adults in the UK and has never been stronger. We welcome the government's draft statement of strategic priorities for online safety, which, once finalized, will help shape this important work. So, there's your wacky and weird news about needing to governmentally enforce people being decent on the internet because social media can't do it themselves. Oh, I don't want to be known as the kitty porn site. Nope, they don't care. As long as they get those ad revenue, they don't care if they're known as the kitty porn site. As long as they get those clicks and those users, and look, we have 10 million users. 90% of them are pedophiles, but that's okay.
There needs to be a generation that starts a trend of not being on the internet. That needs to be happening.
Yeah,
just
good luck.
not be on the internet at all. Right?
Literally
just
impossible. The world runs on the internet now. There's definitely people who don't use social media, like Robert. He doesn't use social media. He's not on
definitely need more Luddites out there. More people that don't embrace technology. Stop letting technology control your life.
Everyone put on your tinfoil hats. Internet waves aren't going to get me.
Forget that your phone... Just treat your phone like it doesn't exist. I mean, why do you got to be on your phone all day? I mean, your boss don't let you talk on your phone all day. That's 8 hours where your boss is like, what the fuck you doing on your phone? So you can obviously do it. So anyway, on to the news. Okay, we're up to a story that was been going on in South Carolina.
Okay.
6 monkeys are still on the loose. This is from AP News in South Carolina.
Dun dun dun, the monkey update. Yep. We should have had a little jingle.
Round them up so Trump can appoint him to his cabinet. 6 monkeys were still on the loose early Monday after dozens escaped earlier this year from the South Carolina compound that breeds the primates for medical research. So fuck them. Go monkeys. I hope they stay loose. 2 more racist macaques were trapped Sunday outside the Alpha Genesis facility in Yamasee, bringing the total recovered monkeys to 37 of the 43 escaped. Alpha Genesis CEO Greg Westergaard said in a statement released by Yamasee police in a social media post. We want our monkeys back so we can torture them. Both monkeys were recaptured Sunday, were examined and were in excellent condition. We'll put a stop to that, said Westergaard, who is president when they were recovered. I can attest with absolute certainty that their spirits were high and they showed all outward signs of being happy, well-adjusted monkeys. Now back in your cages, he said.
Wonder why they were happy. Probably because they could be free.
Yeah. We are very pleased that the animals recovered thus far in such good condition that they show no ill effects from the outdoor adventure. So we're going to do scientific tests on them. Don't worry about that. We'll take care of their well-being. All the monkeys taken back to the compound have been fed peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and monkey biscuits, which are not made from monkey, I imagine, which are a high-protein Purina monkey chow that is specially formulated for rhesus macaques, Westergaard said. 2 other monkeys were spotted near the trap Sunday afternoon, and Alpha Genesis planned to begin trapping efforts before dawn Monday, which was 2 days ago, and continued throughout the day. 43 monkeys made a break for it on November 6th after an employee at what locals call the monkey farm did not fully lock their enclosure, police said. There are 3 gates keeping the monkeys inside the containment area, and workers is supposed to lock and latch one gate before opening another, but all 3 gates and latches were left unsecure, allowing the primates to escape. Wow. Either did it on purpose or they're really incompetent. Westergaard said it appears the worker made a mistake and did not intentionally leave the gates where the monkeys could escape. They were that inexperienced, maybe. They made that mistake.
Maybe
my understanding is that immediately after the incident occurred,
maybe they just didn't sleep well, like, oh, I forgot to latch the gates. Whoops. I didn't drink my coffee yet.
My understanding is that immediately after the incident occurred, the employee's supervisor approached her and stated that she could be terminated if it was determined there was no structural failure which led to the escape, Westergaard told the TV station. I'm told at that point the employee walked off the job and has not returned. They might have done it on purpose. Anyway, Alpha Genesis has said the efforts to recover all the monkeys will continue for as long as it takes. The compound, about a mile from downtown Yamasee and about 50 miles northeast of Savannah, Georgia. The monkeys are about the size of a cat. They're all females weighing about 7 pounds, or 3 kilograms. On Monday, a group called Stop Animal Exploitation now sent another letter to federal officials asking for fines and further inspection of Alpha Genesis for animal mistreatment. The letter to the U.S. Department of Agriculture said a monkey was found dead with its head stuck in a fence and a second strangled and gauze used to secure water bottles. The letter also details several earlier escapes, including one where a monkey had its arm ripped off and another had its arm broken by a tranquilizer dart. The incidents involved about 30 monkeys and happened in 2022 or earlier. The letter includes emails and other documents from Alpha Genesis given the group by someone inside the company, wrote Michael Budke, the group's executive director. This is not animal care. This is neglect and abuse. Though these violations may be back in a couple of years, there is no reason to assume that such a broad set of violations will be totally remedied. Budke wrote. Alpha Genesis has not returned a phone call or email asking about the letter. The USDA has inspected the compound 10 times since 2020. The facility's most recent federal inspection in May showed there were about 6,700 primates on site and no issues, and veterinarians found minor problems, but only one of the facilities passed 6 inspections. Humans have been using the monkeys for scientific research since the late 1800s. Scientists believe rhesus macaques and humans split from a common ancestor about 25 million years ago and share about 93% of the same DNA. The monkeys pose no risk to public health. Alpha Genesis federal health officials and police have said the facility breeds the monkeys to sell to medical facilities and other researchers. If people encounter the monkeys, they are advised to stay away from them and do not fly drones in the area. The company said that they are skittish and might run away from where they are gathered. There's your drone warning. Another escaped animals news. We have a pig on the loose. Yeah, Pennsylvania. This is a tongue twister. Pennsylvania police pursue persistent pig pedestrian. This is from Ben Hooper from UPI.com. I just did that for the headline. Authorities in Pennsylvania are hot on the trail of an unusual suspect wanted for evading police. A loose pig. Ben Salem Township Police said on social media that officers have been going hog wild trying to capture this little porker for the last few weeks. Police said the pig has become a local celebrity on social media, and some residents have reported feeding the slippery swine. The Post asked locals to report any sightings of the pig so it can be apprehended before he runs into the street and breaks his little piggy. The department said the pig will be taken to rescue and put up for adoption once it has been captured. Or bacon. Anyway, in other animals news, this is from last week. A wayward sea turtle wound up in the Netherlands. A rescue brought it back home, thousands of miles back home. This is a very short story. Galveston, Texas. An endangered sea turtle was found about a year ago, some 5,000 miles or 8,047 kilometers from its native waters, and has been released into the Gulf of Mexico, according to the Houston Zoo. The Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, named Bowier after the boat that rescued it, was found off the coast of the Netherlands after becoming entangled in the net of a commercial fishing boat. The zoo said the turtle apparently was carried away by currents until it was found, and the U.S. National Fish and Wildlife Service secured the turtle's return. The turtle was taken to the Rotterdam Zoo, where it was nursed back to health and eventually was flown to Houston, where it arrived October 29th, the zoo said. After medical tests and an acclimation process, a healthy Bowier was released into the Gulf of Mexico from Stewart Beach in Galveston on November 4th.
Look at that. What a journey.
Yeah, the Kempt Ridley sea turtle is native to the coastal waters of the Gulf of Mexico and Atlantic Ocean. Is the smallest sea turtle at 27 to 32 inches long and weighs 75 to 100 pounds, according to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. The turtle was placed on the endangered species in 1970, according to the department. So good news for the turtle. Had a trip around the world, at least a trip across the Atlantic, and now he's back home in the Gulf, getting ready for the next hurricane. Back to you.
All right. Let's hopefully learn his lesson and won't get swept up again in that storm. I'm not sure what they do when I'm not, because I hear like the waves, like actually deep waves in the ocean, are pretty calm during a hurricane. You know, the deeper you go. So maybe just got swept up in the higher.
Turtles just bury themselves anyway. Just bury yourselves in the sand anyway. So
yeah, just bury yourself in the sand. Maybe he got swept away. He was sleeping in the sand and he just got swept off into Rotterdam.
I think it was in a fishing net. I think it was in a fishing net, so that could drag you quite a ways, right?
Yeah.
If they don't know you're there.
But at least there's a positive story there, because
Yep.
poor monkeys. Let the monkeys be free and leave them alone. Poor monkeys. Oh, From that, let's
All
talk
right.
about some culture news. We're going to talk about Wicked, which is the kind of prequel story that's not related to the original Wizard of Oz, which was written by somebody else. It's like the first ever popular fan fan story prequel. But it is weird and wacky, so I want to talk about how Wicked reinvented the witch from, that kind of original evil woman that should be shamed for existing that we talked about right before Halloween. This is on Euronews by Amber Louise Bryce. As Wicked prepares to cast its spell over the box office, if you haven't heard, there's a Wicked film featuring Ariana Grande and I forget the other actor's name. So it's gonna be interesting, that's for sure.
Right.
Euronews wants to look at how the portrayals of witches on screen have evolved to become symbols of female empowerment and embrace otherness. So, are you a good witch or a bad witch? I like to be the bad witch myself. That's a quote from Victor Fleming's 1939 The Wizard of Oz. It's a question that has been played with throughout popular culture for centuries.
Oops, sorry.
And as the binaries become increasingly blurred. What is a bad witch? What is a good witch? I don't know. Many people will first remember being scared of witches, primarily through their fairy tale hag guises, the long crooked nose, the toothless grin, the wicked queen in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, or Margaret Hamilton's melty, sickly-skinned wicked witch of the West in Wizard of Oz film. It was a vision of the latter in the clouds that inspired American author Gregory Maguire to write Wicked in the early 90s, turning one of the cinema's most infamous villains into a heroine to explore the nature of evil. Yeah, I mean, sometimes evil is just the other side of the coin. You're evil because you want freedom from Oz, who is a fascist, and he's trying to control us. Oh, wait a minute, maybe you're not evil.
Mm-hmm.
Wicked tells the story of Elphaba before she became the Wicked Witch of the West, and a friendship with Galinda, who became Glinda the Good. Bullied for her green skin and used by fascist Wizard of Oz. I wasn't lying, he genuinely was a fascist. Elphaba is driven to revenge, mistreatment, and the ultimately that corrupts her. Yes, revenge indeed corrupts. The novel quickly becomes a bestseller, spawning one of the biggest ever Broadway musical. Yeah, everyone knows Wicked. If you like Broadway musicals, you love Wicked, okay? If you don't, you're just being edgy. Its themes of female empowerment, friendship, and otherness resonated with young women in particular, the devotion of whom has led to it becoming a cultural behemoth. A Hollywood adaptation of the musical starring Cynthia Erivo, that's who's playing Elphaba, or the Wicked Witch of the West. Ugh, something in my throat. And Ariana Grande as Galinda arrives in cinemas, in 2 days, so it's 22nd of November. Its release is a reminder of the enduring fascination with witches. For all the Tin Men and Scarecrows, the Wicked Witch remains the most memorable and influential character from The Wizard of Oz. Ding dong, the witch is not dead, just misunderstood. Witches were first meant to be feared, not idolized. A bitter crone with a Warner nose that envies youth and beauty, intent on corrupting and bringing death upon us all. For women, this messaging became especially pervasive and insidious form of patriarchal control. Not only should we stay young, pretty, and well-behaved, for fear of being killed, we should also be wary and judgmental of other women that dare to oppose such ideas. Yeah, you just turn women against each other and you don't even need to regulate them anymore. You don't even need to control them, you just have all the women yell at each other. Portrayals of witches have often been centered around triple goddess archetype, the three distinct figure representative cycles of womanhood: maiden, mother, and crone. That's right, you're only allowed to be a virgin, have children, and be an old lady, and that's it. That's all you're allowed to be as a witch, or as a woman. The maiden is young, virginal, and beautiful. The mother cherished solely for her fertility and domestic roles. Thanks for popping out those babies. And the crone elderly, vile, and spiteful. While the latter has been most prevalent through history, recent decades have sought to focus more on the mother and maiden, reframing them as vessels for female expression, rebellion, and empowerment. If Wicked encouraged us to understand and emphasize with a villainous witch, films like The Craft, Maleficent, and The Love Witch made us realize we are the witch. That's right. womanhood is the witch the whole time. She's the ugly self-hatred that bubbles through your thoughts, the suffocating grip of societal expectations, pulsating rage, unrepressed sexual desire, and female competitiveness and kinship. The yearning to be free and to be bad, or as Robert Eggers the Witch put it so succinctly, to live deliciously. The witch is a cauldron of contradictions, potioned by patriarchy. I love that. Cauldron of contradictions potioned by patriarchy. But the more than that, she is a spectacular unraveling of ideals. An embodiment of woman's trauma and truth, and the power to be found in taking back ownership of ourselves. Before we try to define gravity with Elphaba... Oh no, we don't need to read this. This is just a list of... This is the list of all witches. But here, I'll read you the list. There's the Wicked Witch. There's also the witches from the craft, where they all do that stuff. Being a scary bitch who gets obsessed with witchcraft and taming ultimate power. These were all the villainous characters that were witches. But then you've got the empowered witches, like, through the 90s. They were cool and celestial. Mazzy Star. Films like The Practical Magic, Sandra Bullock, and Nicole Kidman and her sisters using their inherited powers to navigate life. I wonder if they have Charmed in here. Charmed is also like a great example of, empowered witches. I think that's technically the 90s as well. You've got the Owen sisters, Midnight Margaritas, and The Craft as well. They're also empowered. You've got Robert Eggers' 2016 film The Witch, which had Anna Taylor-Joy in it. Same year, you had Anna Biller's dancingly Technicolor The Love Witch, portraying young, beautiful witch named Elaine. Casting love spells on random men she picks up and seduces, leading them to become so hopelessly infatuated and able to cope with so strong emotions they end up killing themselves. While they're so in love with her, they kill themselves. That's definitely empowering. You got Luca Guadagnino's remake of Dario Argento's Suspiria, using dance to express witches' volatile, psychosexual infused feelings of womanhood under patriarchy, with a finale in which the protagonist, Susie Bannion, Dakota Johnson, becomes head of the coven, Mother Superiorum, opening up her chest in a kind of rebirth and reclaiming of autonomy. So, there you go. And now we're going to another empowering witch with Elphaba and Glinda, because they're both witches, technically. And, we're gonna see them, go through girlhood friendship drama. Really, that's what the whole thing's about. I like the fascist. I don't like the fascist. Well, I guess we're enemies. And that's kind of the story, to really simplify it. So, through making the witch a symbol of both female frustration and freedom, we're led to question who the real villain is in her stories. The one with the magic powers, or the society that sought to stifle them and celebrated in her melting. That's your story on witches and how wacky society is with women, from Amber Louise Bryce on Uranus Culture to your day in history. Or our day in history, the day in history.
A lot of layers in the Wizard of Oz. Huh?
Yeah.
I thought it was about heroin addiction myself. I mean, why did she lay down in the field of poppies to go to sleep, right? Heroin addiction.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, the wizard represents the false promise of, that false high, that false god.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to this day in history. And the Wicked Witches, of course, were various things we can get into later. The Wicked Witch and the Good Witch, right? You had the Wicked Witch and the Good Witch. And their confused roles in your recovery from your heroin addiction. On this day in history, in your non-witch news, 1761, Pius VIII, who served as Pope from 1829 to 1830, one whole year, was born in the Papal States in 1861. So he only got 1 year. So he probably died of old age. Shit. He was born in 1761. He was Pope in 29. So shit. He was in his late 60s before he was the Pope. And people didn't live that long in those days. 1815, in the final phases of Napoleonic Wars, Britain, Russia, Austria, and Prussia renewed the Quadruple Alliance to prevent further French aggression. Right on the Quadruple Alliance. It still holds today. Britain, Russia, Austria, and Prussia, which isn't even a country.
Prussia's totally still here.
No, it doesn't quite hold. Totally doesn't hold. Doesn't hold to this day at all. Yeah, 1815 it held. 1820, the American whaling ship Essex was rammed by a sperm whale and later sank, inspiring the climatic scene in Herman Melville's Moby Dick, which was written in 1851, so 31 years later. In 1910, Leo Tolstoy died of a heart attack at the railroad station Abastopovo. Leo Tolstoy, War and Peace. Suffering from pneumonia, he died at the railroad station. Shouldn't have been at a railroad station if you got pneumonia there, dude. You should be in bed. All right. 1917, for the first time, tanks were used effectively in warfare by the British at the Battle of Cambrai, or something like that. It was at a battle. 1925 is the birthday of Robert F. Kennedy, who is the brother of the late president and was also assassinated. So happy 99th birthday to Robert F. Kennedy. Robert Francis Kennedy. 1947, the future Queen Elizabeth II married Philip Mountbatten at Westminster Abbey. 1947, so happy anniversary to the happy couple who are no longer with us. 1969, a Native American activist began an occupation of Alcatraz Island, protesting what they saw as the U.S. government's ongoing economic, social, and political neglect of Native Americans. They were forced off the island in June of 1971. So they got almost 2 years on that island. They probably should just let them have it. They're not really using it for anything. It's not a prison anymore. It's a tourist trap, basically, now. Let them have it. Let them have the frickin' island. What's wrong with you people? You can't do nothing with it. You made a prison on it, for God's sake. Of course, the graffiti is still there. If you go to Alcatraz, if you visit Alcatraz, and I've seen this video, you can still see the graffiti that the protesters left, written on the walls of the prison.
A historical marker.
That's right, and they're leaving it there. 1975, Francisco Franco is still dead. That's right, this is the day he actually died. Ruler of Spain says to overthrow the democratic government in 1939. The old fascists finally kicked the bucket in 1982. That's right. Generalissimo Francisco Franco gave birth to a meme on Saturday Night Live, and he didn't even know it. Poor guy. He'll never know how famous he got for being a meme on Saturday Night Live.
Dead.
Yeah, for being dead. For being still dead. Right? 1992, a massive fire erupted in Windsor Castle in Berkshire. Not the one they got married in, but a different castle belonging to the royals. Yeah, they got more than one castle. You know you're rich if you got more than one castle. Causing the destruction of 115 rooms. Though the priceless art collection was largely untouched, it took nearly 5 years to repair the damage. And once again, we care not at all about rich people and their possessions. They don't do anything for us. 1998, on this day, the American Tobacco Company signed an agreement with the governments of 46 states to settle the states' claims for reimbursement of Medicaid funds they had expended to treat smoking-related illnesses. The settlement costing tobacco manufacturers $206 billion, beyond the $40 billion they had agreed to pay for their states in 1997, which they got off easy because now they're into the vape. They're into the vape carts, and they've got more nicotine than cigarettes ever had.
Yeah.
2006. That's right. Get people hooked and then, sell them cigarettes so they get cancer. 2006, American filmmaker Robert Altman, an unconventional independent director, died at the age of 81. Robert Altman did MASH, among other movies. He's directed MASH, the movie. 2015, American civil defense analyst Jonathan J. Pollard was released from prison, having served 30 years for selling classified information to Israel. I thought they were an ally. That's kind of funny.
You don't want to keep secrets from your allies.
That's true, because you don't know who they're leaking it to. Also, you can't sell secrets to anyone, no matter if they're ally or not. That's against the law. All right, that's why you went to prison. It's like, yeah. Selling
doing,
secrets.
dude?
Don't do. Of course, if you're Donald Trump, you can do it because whatever.
Of course.
Yeah. Just him. Just special guy. Special guy who doesn't have to go to prison no matter what he does. We got special guy in this country. Hopefully, special guy doesn't live to be as old as Joe Biden, who turns 82 today. Happy birthday to Joe Biden, born in 1942. Also, birthdays of Robert C. Byrd, who we talked about the other day, United States Senator, born in 1917. Our featured event is 1910 Mexican Revolution launched by Francisco Madero. On this day in 1910, Francisco Madero launched a failed revolt that nonetheless sparked the Mexican Revolution by inspiring hope in such leaders as Pancho Villa and Emiliano Zapata, who then mobilized their ragged armies. Ooh, we got us a ragged army. Other birthdays today: Selma Lagerlöf, Swedish author, born November 20th, 1858 in Marbacka, Sweden. Died March 16th, 1940 in Marbacka, Sweden. Aged 81. Hopefully she traveled. Didn't just born to the same one place, died in the same place, and never went anywhere. That's what it seems like in these things. Like, well, maybe she was well traveled, maybe she wasn't. But other birthdays: Benoit Mandelbrot, Polish-born French-American mathematician. Benoit?
Yeah, don't pronounce the T. Yeah.
Benoit Mandelbrot.
Yeah, there you go.
Born in 1924, 100th birthday. And it's also the president of Nigeria's birthday. His name is Goodluck Jonathan, born in 1957. Good luck, Jonathan. That's his name. I swear to you, that's his name. All right. National Day calendar. It is National Educational Support Professionals Day. National Peanut Butter Fudge Day. Peanut butter fudge. It's National GIS Day. GIS stands for Geographic something. Geographic Information Systems. Connects data to a map and integrates location data. So it's like, this stuff that tells you where you are in your GPS, basically. That technology.
You're over here.
Yeah, you're right here in this map, if you can read maps. If you can't read maps, well, tough shit. Absurdity Day. So that's what we're going to go off with today. It's National Absurdity Day, which fits with our Word Wednesday. It's also National Child's Day. So if you have a child who is absurd, you've got an absurd child, well, it's his day or her day if they're being absurd. But it's National Absurd Day. Do something that makes no sense whatsoever. So those are your days, those are your birthdays, your events, historical events for this day, November 20th, 2024, on Before Peanut Butter Fudge.
Fudge is always good, but it's always so dense.
Right.
All right. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands.
Fudge.
I hope you guys are going to have like you said, do some absurd things today because it is Wacky and Wood Wednesday, and it's very rare for Absurdity Day to land on a Weird and Wacky Wednesday. So celebrate that. And we will see you tomorrow for Thursday's 13. Well, we cover 13 things on a list, completely random, with no thought. Just kind of, that's a thing we can make a list of, and then we'll do it.
There'll be some thought.
It'll be something. So make sure you subscribe and you have notifications on so you know when we go live or post a video. And comment down below if you think monkeys should be escaping or should be kept in their cages. I think they should be escaping. But that's my, not breeding monkeys to use in tests. I thought we got over animal testing, but I guess not.
Nope, we're never over it.
Yeah, we're over it. Surprise. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care out there, and here is the mic drop moment.
Occurring at the cusp of winter, National
Absurdity
Day,
Day.
November 20th, is a fantastic way to liven up a dreary day. What started as a philosophical
Just
movement
vacuum
called
your
absurdism
desert
has
and
bloomed into this marked calendar.
your
vacuum your
clothesline
desert,
anyone
on
is
the
allowed to
street
follow
in
their
a
Fold
rainy
your
place.
clothes in the middle of the
It's a
street.
time to exchange social
Never
customs
gonna
and
dry
dull norms
there.
for playful and untethered
How
behaviors,
absurd.
expressions, and ideas. Dye your eyebrows pink,
She's
juggle
being
eggs in the city
absurd.
park, or lead a meeting while standing on your hands. There's no
Juggle
limit to the
eggs in the
wackiness
city
of this
park.
holiday. The real philosophy of absurdism began in the 19th
Embrace the
century in the mind
absurd.
of a Danish
How
philosopher
absurd
called
for them
Kierkegaard.
to say such a
Its
thing.
premise is that humans are all searching to find meaning in a meaningless universe.
What is this
As
guy
the years
doing?
passed,
Reading a
this
book in the
philosophy
middle of the
gained
street.
popularity and became the touchstone for a movement.
They were
in
like,
theater
we're gonna
and
use
sitting
this
on a
road
chair
for
in
all
North
our
America.
shots. This is a great
In the
road.
1950s and 1960s, the
This is
peak of such
AI
artistic movements as the
generated,
theater of the absurd and
audio.
surrealism
You
gave
can
rise
tell.
to an entire genre of literature.
That's from
based
2
on
years ago.
non-sequitur
It's not-
behaviors and otherworldly plots. One of the works
Right.
from this time.
Yeah,
Waiting for
it has
Godot,
AI
is based
voice, but I
entirely
don't think
around
the
a pair of
images are
characters waiting
AI
in a tree for their
generated.
Yeah, I
friend,
said the AI
Godot,
voice
whom
because
we
he's
never knew to
mispronouncing
arrive.
stuff.
They were like,
The
oh,
origins
let's not
of
hire a
National
voice actor.
Absurdity
Let's
Day
just
are
put this
apropos to the
dude saying
subject at hand.
something.
Waiting for
They're
Godot,
entirely
not
unknown.
Godot.
Taking a
We
shower
like to
in the
think
middle of
this
the
day as an
forest.
opportunity to embrace a new and freeing philosophy in all our words and deeds, just to see what it's like to unsubscribe from the order and
I wonder what
organization
these
of
two
normal
actors are
human life
thinking.
for a
It's like,
few
okay,
hours.
it's National Absurdity Day,
Absurdism
so
can
you
be
guys are
difficult
just
to
gonna like
define
do
since
weird
it is by
stuff
its
in
very
this
nature
forest in Seattle
anti-establishment and
somewhere.
anti-woke.
Okay.
Right.
Embracing absurdity simply requires
Put
us
my
to move
hand in a
directly past
jar
all the tacit
full
rules
of
that we
water?
tend to
What's
accommodate
absurd
each
about
day,
that?
From the way we dress to the way we speak.
I do that all
to
the
how we
time.
sit
You're
in a
asking
public
why
place.
he's doing it. That's why.
Today, the primary location
seems
for
to be no
national
reason
Vacuuming
for
a
it.
desert
How does
is
his hand
definitely
fit in
just
that
like,
jar?
why is this happening?
This is one of the only places where people can
And why is he
truly
wearing-
embrace the
why is he
meaning
wearing
of
a
the day
trench
without paying
coat?
significant
Right,
consequences.
yeah, he's wearing
It's
his
not so easy for
robe
adults in the
in a
working world.
desert and trying to vacuum it up.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.